At this point, the roadside ditch corridor has been created utilizing default values for the bench offset from the slope toe, the ditch bottom width, left and right side slope, height of the channel lining, and thickness of channel lining and bedding layers. These default values were taken from the specific template that was selected during the corridor creation process. The next step in the process is to make adjustments to the corridor model based on the results of hydraulic analysis. So I'm now going to make adjustments, and I'm going to do that using parametric constraints. In this example, parametric constraints will be used to widen the ditch below station 6+40, and then a transition section will be added between 6+20 and 6+40. Therefore, two parametric constraints will be needed, one for the widened ditch and one for the widening transition. Remember, however, that the stationing used for the parametric constraints will use the ditch corridor stationing, not the ditch centerline stationing, nor the roadway baseline stationing. So to access the parametric constraints, I'll go to one of the corridor handles and select the corridor, and then from the flyout menu, corridor creation tools, I'll go to the tool create parametric constraint. In the dialog, see I have the starting and stopping stations. I'm going to change this to 6+40. And then the end station, 734.34. And I have a number of variables that I can change: bench slope, bench width, bottom width of the channel, ditch depth, grass slope, out, lining height, lining thickness, and the inside slope. So I'm going to change the bottom width. By default, it's set to 4. So in this range, I'm going to increase the bottom width from 4 feet to 8 feet. Then I need to data point to accept all the inputs in the dialog. Once I do that, you will see the update in the plan as well as the 3D model view. Next, I'm going to go through the same process to add the transition. So you see the widened section here, but I have a rather abrupt change, so I want to smooth out that transition. So again, select the corridor handle, go to corridor creation tools, create parametric constraints, select the same variable bottom width, but change my station range now, 620 to 640. I'll start at 4 and end at 8. Be a linear transition. Parametric constraints can only do linear transitions. If you need to do a nonlinear transition, then you need to use a point control to do that. The data point to accept. Now I have my transition section as well as my widened section. I can do this for all those other parametric constraints that were mentioned, various side slopes and lining thicknesses and heights, etc. Another way of adding adjustments to your ditch is to add, remove, or change the ditch lining. And in order to do this, it's necessary to revise the templates that are being used for the corridor model for the station range where the change is needed. So in this example, I currently have Class B riprap for the entire ditch. What I'd like to do is to revise the corridor model so that I'm using Class 2 riprap for that 8-foot wide portion of the ditch that I just created. I just recently opened this file, so I don't yet have a template library loaded up, so I need to do that first. Go to the Corridors tab, Template, go to File, Open. It's in the C drive under the Connect Workspace, Configuration, Org Civil, Disciplines, DOT Hydraulics, Standards, and then finally the template library. And there it is. All right, now that that's open, I can add template drops. So go to corridor handle. From the flyout menu, I'll pick the tool, create a template drop. Now I have the dialog. I need to specify where I want the template drops. And as before, the widen section is station 640 to the end. And the end station is 734.34. You just select an interval and then tell it which template I want to use for that template drop. So this is a lateral ditch with a berm, so it's a DDE ditch on the left side, and I'm going to use the Class 2 riprap option. And then I will data point to accept my inputs. You see now that I have a new graphic in the file showing me that I have a template drop here. That template drop is for the Class B riprap, and this template drop is for the Class 2 riprap. You can always make edits to these. You can change the location of that, where you start and stop the template drops. You can also look at the properties of that template drop and change the interval. You can type in specific stations, and you can change what template you selected for that template drop if you want to go back and change it to something else. Another adjustment that you'll often need to make to ditches is to add horizontal curves at sharp angular deflections like this one. As you can see, the template drops are conflicting on the inside. They're no longer perpendicular to the baseline. To add horizontal curves to ditches is fairly easy. Go to the Geometry tab and to the Table Editor. Follow the prompt to locate the alignment. You'll see that it will show you the two tangents as well as the existing radius, which at this point is 0. To add a curve, just simply change that radius value to something positive. Use 50 feet. Maybe hard to see, but it does give you a little preview of what the curve will look like. It does not take effect until you hit apply. And then when you hit apply, the corridor model will update in both plan and 3D model view. And with that change, you can see that now I no longer have conflicting template drops, and the template drops are perpendicular to the baseline as they should be.